Jack Miller stood at the viewing port of the Galactic Council headquarters, looking out at the swirling nebula that served as a backdrop to the massive space station. 50 years had passed since humanity joined the Council, and in that time, Earth had contributed more technological innovations than many species who had been members for centuries. Yet something felt off lately. The Council members had been less forthcoming, meetings more secretive. "Ambassador Miller, the Granthi delegate is requesting to postpone your meeting again," said Tom Reed, his aide and friend of 15 years. The young man's face showed the same concern Jack had been feeling for weeks. "That's the third time this month," Jack replied, turning away from the view. "Something isn't right, Tom. I've been on this station long enough to know when I'm being avoided." The council chamber, an enormous circular room with seats for representatives of over 200 species, had once felt like a place of possibility to Jack. Now the empty seats seemed ominous as he walked through during the station's night cycle. "Security is lighter tonight," Tom observed, keeping his voice low. "The Zenith Guards changed their patrol pattern last week." Jack nodded. "Perfect timing for what I have planned." For months, Jack had been building a network of allies who shared his suspicions. One of them was Lisa, a blue-skinned scientist from the Terran system whose species had joined the Council only 20 years after humans. "The archives should be empty now," Jack said, checking his communication device. "Lisa will loop the security feeds for exactly 18 minutes. Tom looked nervous but determined. "Enough time to get in and out. If what your source said is true, we'll know soon enough." The two men moved through the dimly lit corridors of the station's lower levels. Jack used his ambassador's override codes to access areas that were technically permitted but rarely visited by non-archivists. The door to the secure records slid open with a soft hiss. "Remember, we're looking for files from the Strategic Planning Committee meetings from the last 6 months," Jack whispered as they moved between tall data storage units. Tom nodded and began searching through one section while Jack took another. The minutes ticked by as they scanned through thousands of records. "Jack," Tom's urgent whisper cut through the silence. "I found something. It's encrypted, but it has Earth's designation code attached." Jack hurried over. The file was indeed heavily protected, but as an ambassador, he had higher clearance than most realized. He applied his security key, and the file began to decrypt. "We have 11 minutes left," Tom reminded him. The holographic display flickered to life, projecting the contents of the file into the air before them. As Jack read, his face grew pale. This can't be right," he said, his voice barely audible. The document detailed plans for a complete quarantine of Earth and all human colonies. The Council had secretly voted to classify humans as a disruptive species that was evolving too rapidly for galactic stability. The final phase included the harvesting of Earth's resources after its population was relocated to designated habitation sectors. "They're planning to contain us, then strip our world bare," Jack said, the reality sinking in. "According to this, they've already begun sabotaging our colonial expansion efforts and limiting our military technology." "They're planning to contain us, then strip our world bare," Jack said, the reality sinking in. "According to this, they've already begun sabotaging our colonial expansion efforts and limiting our military technology." Tom's hands shook as he downloaded the files to a secure device. "There's more, Jack. Look at the dates on these operations. Some of these sabotage efforts began 40 years ago. They'd never trusted us." Jack continued reading, discovering that several human space accidents previously thought to be technical failures had actually been orchestrated by Council operatives. The loss of the Mars settlement ship with 300 colonists, the mysterious explosion at the Jupiter research station, all deliberate actions to slow human advancement. "We need to download everything and get back to Earth," Jack decided, his mind racing. "We have to warn them." A soft alert from Tom's device warned them that they had only 5 minutes remaining before the security feeds would return to normal. They worked quickly, copying as many files as they could. Just as they finished, the main lights in the archive suddenly brightened. Someone was coming. "Hide," Jack hissed, pulling Tom behind a large data column. The door slid open, and two Zenith guards entered, their crystalline armor catching the light. Behind them walked Counselor Drex, one of the 7 High Counselors who led the Galactic Council. The system flagged an access to the restricted files. One guard reported, "Someone is in here." Jack knew they couldn't escape without being seen. He touched his communication device, sending an emergency signal to Lisa. Seconds later, alarms began blaring throughout the station. "Station emergency protocols activated," announced the automated system. "All personnel report to safety zones." The guards hesitated, looking to Counselor Drex for instruction. "Check the archives quickly," Drex ordered. "Then we must follow protocols." As the guards moved deeper into the archive, Jack and Tom slipped out behind them, using the confusion to escape into the corridor. They ran, moving with the flow of other species heading toward their designated safety areas. "We need to get to Lisa's lab," Jack said between breaths. "She has a ship prepared." When they arrived at the laboratory section, Lisa was waiting for them, her blue skin pale with worry. "Did you find what you were looking for?" Jack nodded grimly. "Worse than we imagined. They've been planning our destruction from the beginning." Lisa didn't look surprised. Many younger species have faced similar treatment. "My own world only escaped resource harvesting because our sun became unstable, making long-term operations impossible." She led them through her lab to a hidden docking port where a small but fast ship waited. It wasn't marked with Council symbols, which meant it could slip away without immediate tracking. "This will get you to the jump point," Lisa explained. "From there, you can reach Earth in 3 days." Tom loaded their equipment while Jack turned to Lisa. "Come with us. When the Council discovers what we've taken, they'll suspect everyone." Lisa shook her head. "I have others to warn. Not all Council species agree with this plan. Some will stand with humans if they know the truth." Alarms continued to sound as the false emergency Lisa had triggered kept the station in confusion. It wouldn't last much longer. "Thank you," Jack said, grasping her hand in the traditional human gesture of gratitude. "Humans helped my people when our colonies faced starvation 5 years ago," she replied. "We remember our friends." She pressed a data crystal into his hand. "Take this. It contains names of potential allies among the Council species." Jack and Tom boarded the ship as Lisa prepared the docking bay for their departure. "If we make it back to Earth with this information, what happens next?" Tom asked as they strapped in. Jack's expression hardened as he initiated the launch sequence. "Then humanity shows the Galactic Council exactly why they were right to fear us. Not because we're violent, but because we don't take betrayal lightly." The small ship detached from the station and accelerated away, carrying with it the evidence of a deception 50 years in the making, and the spark that would soon ignite humanity's response to the Council's betrayal. The small ship carrying Ambassador Jack Miller and his aide Tom Reed emerged from the jump point near Earth's moon. After 3 days of tense travel, the familiar blue sphere of their home planet filled the view screen. "Home," Tom said, relief evident in his voice. "I wasn't sure we'd make it." Jack nodded grimly. "That Council patrol near the Orion jump point almost had us. They're already looking for the data we took." Earth Space Command detected their approach immediately. 6 defensive ships surrounded them before they could even establish communication. "Unidentified vessel. This is Earth Defense Force. Identify yourself and state your purpose," came the stern voice over the comm. "This is Ambassador Jack Miller, diplomatic code Alpha 7 Delta 9. I need to speak with the Earth Government Council immediately. Priority 1. There was a pause. Then, "Ambassador Miller, you're 2 weeks early from your scheduled return. Please stand by for verification." After a tense minute, the defense ships adjusted their formation. "Ambassador, you're cleared for landing at Washington Spaceport. An escort is being provided." Jack looked at Tom. They sensed something's wrong. That's no standard greeting party down there. The landing was swift and efficient. As they descended the ramp, Jack saw General Kate Roberts waiting with a security team. Her presence confirmed his suspicions. Earth's military leadership was already concerned. "Ambassador," she greeted him with a stiff nod. "We received your emergency signal. The council is assembled and waiting." "Thank you, General." Jack handed her the secure data device. "This needs to be analyzed immediately." Within an hour, Jack and Tom sat in the Earth government headquarters, facing the 12 leaders who represented humanity's unified government. Admiral Wilson, the head of Earth's military forces, stood near a large display screen. "Ambassador Miller," began President Chen, her expression grave. "Please explain what was so urgent that you abandoned your post without authorization." Jack took a deep breath. "Madam President, members of the Council, I discovered evidence that the Galactic Council has been planning to betray humanity since our admission 50 years ago." He gestured to Tom, who activated the files they had stolen. The room fell silent as images and documents appeared on the main screen. These files confirmed that the Council classified Earth as a disruptive species decades ago. They've been sabotaging our colonial efforts, limiting our military advancement, and preparing for what they call resource reclamation of Earth itself. President Chen's face hardened as she read the translated documents. "Are you certain these are authentic?" Admiral Wilson stepped forward. "Madam President, our intelligence division has completed initial verification. These documents match known Council formats and encryption methods, and..." He paused, his expression darkening. "They align with several incidents we've been investigating for years." The Admiral activated his own display, showing a star map with dozens of marked locations. Each of these points represents a colonial mission failure or accident in the past 40 years. We always suspected some weren't accidents, but couldn't prove interference. Jack watched as the reality sank in with Earth's leaders. The betrayal was enormous. 50 years of false friendship, while the Council planned humanity's downfall. Dr. Gray, Earth's leading genotechnologist, spoke next. "Ambassador Miller, did you find any indication of when they plan to implement the final phase of this operation?" "According to the documents, they're still in the preparation stage," Jack replied. "But there are references to an optimal window opening within 2 Earth years." The room erupted in urgent discussions until President Chen raised her hand for silence. "Admiral Wilson, what is Earth's true military capability if we face the combined Council forces?" This was the question everyone feared. The Council included over 200 species, many with technologies thousands of years more advanced than Earth's. At least officially. Admiral Wilson's expression changed slightly. "Madam President, with your permission, I believe it's time to activate Protocol Omega." Several Council members looked confused, but President Chen nodded immediately. "Authorized. Security level maximum." The room's systems hummed as advanced security protocols engaged. Even the air seemed to change as sound-dampening fields activated. "What is Protocol Omega?" asked Jack, looking around in confusion. Admiral Wilson's posture straightened. "Ambassador, what I'm about to share has been kept secret from everyone outside this room, including our Galactic Council allies." The display changed to show military installations and ships unlike anything Jack had seen in Earth's official fleet. 50 years ago, when we joined the Council, Earth's military leadership made a decision. We would share some technologies and appear to integrate fully with galactic society, but we would always maintain separate, hidden development programs. Dr. Gray stepped forward. "We reverse-engineered every piece of technology the Council shared, then pushed it further. We have research outposts in dimensional pockets undetectable to Council sensors, manufacturing facilities inside rogue planets, test sites in parallel probability spaces." Jack stared in disbelief. "You're saying we've been deceiving the Council while they were deceiving us?" "Call it insurance," Admiral Wilson replied. "Humanity has always understood that in the wider galaxy, we might one day stand alone." The display showed what appeared to be normal civilian ships transforming, revealing hidden weapon systems and defensive capabilities. Every colony ship we've sent out in the past 30 years has been equipped with dormant military technology. The Admiral continued. Every mining operation has secondary manufacturing capabilities. We have a fleet 3 times the size of what the Council believes exists. President Chen addressed the room. The question now is, how do we respond? Do we strike first, knowing what they planned for us? Admiral Wilson shook his head. No, Madam President. A preemptive strike would confirm their worst fears about humanity and turn neutral species against us. I propose we issue a warning. A warning? One council member scoffed. Against the entire Galactic Council. Yes, Admiral Wilson said firmly. We demonstrate our true capabilities in a way that cannot be ignored, present our evidence of their betrayal to all Council species simultaneously, and give them a choice. Leave humanity in peace or face the consequences. Jack thought about Lisa and the data crystal she had given him. There are species within the Council who might stand with us if they knew the truth. Not all approve of the plans against Earth. Tom, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. The Council believes humans are unpredictable and dangerous because we evolve quickly. Perhaps it's time to show them just how right they are. President Chen considered all she had heard, then straightened in her chair. Admiral Wilson, how quickly can we mobilize our true fleet? 72 hours to full combat readiness, Madam President. Dr. Gray, can you prepare a transmission package with evidence of the Council's betrayal that can be sent to every species simultaneously? Dr. Gray nodded. Yes, Madam President. My team can have it ready in 24 hours. President Chen looked at each person in the room. Then in 3 days, humanity will issue its response. We will show the Galactic Council that we discovered their betrayal. We are prepared for it, and we are giving them one chance to reconsider. Jack felt a strange mixture of dread and pride as he watched Earth's leaders unite in purpose. Ambassador Miller, President Chen said finally, you will deliver our message personally. It's time for the Council to learn that humans don't take betrayal lightly. And we certainly don't face it unprepared. The Grand Council chamber buzzed with confused voices. Representatives from over 200 species had been summoned for an emergency session, yet no one knew who had called it. The 7 High Councilors themselves looked perplexed as they took their seats at the elevated platform. Order. We will have order, demanded High Councilor Drex, his voice booming through the massive circular room. We are attempting to determine who activated the emergency protocols. As the chamber slowly quieted, the massive central holographic display flickered to life, showing only a simple Earth emblem. A ripple of whispers passed through the assembled representatives. What is the meaning of this? Councilor Mira of the ancient Thran species asked, her elongated fingers tapping impatiently on her control panel. Where is the human ambassador? As if answering her question, the enormous doors at the main entrance slid open. Ambassador Jack Miller walked in, flanked by 6 humans in military uniforms. Admiral Wilson led them, his face expressionless as he surveyed the chamber. Representatives of the Galactic Council, Jack began, his voice amplified throughout the room. 3 days ago, I discovered evidence of a betrayal so profound that it threatens the foundation of trust upon which this council was built. The holographic display changed, showing classified council documents and plans involving Earth. Several council members shifted uncomfortably as they recognized the files. For 50 years, humanity has participated in good faith as members of this galactic community, Jack continued. Yet for those same 50 years, certain members of this council have been planning our containment, exploitation, and eventual destruction. High Councilor Drex rose from his seat. Ambassador Miller, these accusations are serious and unfounded. Whatever documents you claim to have found are clearly forgeries designed to. They are not forgeries, interrupted Admiral Wilson, stepping forward. We have verified their authenticity, including the signatures authorizing the sabotage of human colonies that resulted in the deaths of thousands of our people. The display shifted to show scenes of colonial disasters, followed by the confidential council reports that revealed their true cause. Jack's voice hardened. We have transmitted these documents to every member species of the council, not just to your representatives here, but directly to your homeworlds and colonies. Your citizens are viewing this evidence as we speak. Chaos erupted in the chamber as representatives frantically checked their communication devices, confirming Jack's claim. The humans had somehow bypassed all security protocols to broadcast directly to hundreds of worlds simultaneously. This is an outrage, shouted one representative. A violation of council sovereignty. High Counselor Nexus of the Elder Vitri species had remained silent until now. Unlike the others, his ancient eyes showed not anger but deep concern. How did you manage such a transmission? He asked quietly, yet his voice carried through the chamber. Our security systems should have prevented it. Admiral Wilson allowed a small smile. That brings us to the second part of our message today. The main doors opened again, and screens throughout the chamber showed the space outside the council station. A collective gasp rose as representatives saw what appeared in the viewport. A human fleet had emerged from jump points surrounding the council homeworld. Not the small defensive force the council believed Earth possessed, but hundreds of advanced warships unlike any they had previously revealed. Impossible, whispered Counselor Mira. Our intelligence indicated the humans have only 47 warships. Your intelligence was wrong, replied Jack simply. Just as you were wrong to believe we would not discover your betrayal. Just as you were wrong to think we would not prepare for it. The central display now showed technical specifications of the human fleet, advanced shielding systems, weapons based on dimensional phase technology, and artificial intelligence integration far beyond what the Council believed humans possessed. You see before you only 1/10 of Earth's true military capability, Admiral Wilson stated. We could have struck without warning, as you planned to do to us. Instead, we choose to issue a final warning. Jack stepped forward again. Humanity officially withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. We demand all Council forces withdraw from human space within 7 days. Any Council vessel found within our territories after that time will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly. The Elder Counselor Nexus rose slowly from his seat, his ancient form trembling slightly, not with fear, but with the weight of memory. I have lived through 17 galactic cycles, he said, his voice carrying the weight of eons. I have seen species rise and fall. I have witnessed the birth and death of civilizations, and I recognize what stands before us today. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to the Elder. Once, 100,000 years ago, we encountered another species that evolved as quickly as humans. They, too, hid their true capabilities. They, too, prepared for betrayal. His ancient eyes fixed on Admiral Wilson. We underestimated them, as we have underestimated you. What happened to them? Asked a young representative from the back of the chamber. They destroyed themselves through their own aggression, Nexus answered. The question now is whether humans will follow the same path. Admiral Wilson met the ancient being's gaze. That is entirely up to you. Humanity does not seek war. We seek only to exist without the threat of extinction hanging over us. The display changed again, showing a star map with clear boundaries marking human territory. It was far larger than what the Council had previously recognized, including systems the humans had secretly colonized. These are our terms, Jack announced. Respect our boundaries. End all sabotage operations against human interests. Acknowledge our sovereignty. Do these things, and peace is possible. Several of the younger Council species representatives were already in heated discussions. Some were openly supportive of the human position, particularly those who had faced similar treatment from the dominant Council powers. And if we refuse these demands? Asked High Counselor Drex, his voice tight with controlled rage. In answer, one of the human ships demonstrated a previously unknown technology. It created what appeared to be a small, controlled dimensional rift beside an uninhabited moon. causing a section of the celestial body to simply vanish into another reality. The demonstration sent shockwaves through the council chamber. "That technology is forbidden," shouted a representative from the back. "By your laws, not ours," replied Admiral Wilson calmly. "We no longer recognize council authority. We are giving you a choice that we ourselves never received, the opportunity to avoid conflict." Jack looked around the chamber one last time. His eyes found Lisa among her species delegation. She gave him a nearly imperceptible nod. "You have 7 days to respond," Jack concluded. "Choose wisely." As the human delegation turned to leave, the elder counselor Nexus spoke once more. "Ambassador Miller," he called, his ancient voice resonating with something like respect. "In all our calculations about human potential, what did we miss? How did your species prepare so thoroughly for a betrayal you shouldn't have suspected?" Jack paused at the doorway. "Because throughout our history, every time humans have encountered a more advanced civilization, we've suffered. So when we reached the stars and found you, we hoped for the best, but prepared for exactly what we found." The doors closed behind the human delegation, leaving the council in stunned silence as the fleet outside maintained its perfect formation, a visible reminder that the galaxy had changed forever. For 6 days, the Galactic Council debated furiously behind closed doors. Some species argued for immediate compliance with human demands, while others insisted that giving in to such threats would set a dangerous precedent. The elder races remained unusually quiet, their ancient minds calculating possibilities that younger species could not yet comprehend. On the 7th day, as the deadline approached, the council made its decision. Admiral Wilson stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defiance, reviewing defense system reports when the communication officer called out, "Admiral, we're detecting multiple jump signatures at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system." Wilson's expression remained calm. "Show me." The main display activated, revealing a massive council armada emerging from jump points near Earth's closest colony. Over 300 warships from 24 species formed attack formations. "They've made their choice," Wilson said quietly. He opened a channel to Earth Command. "Madam President, the Council has launched a preemptive strike against Proxima Colony. Request permission to activate Defense Protocol Theta." President Chen's voice came through clearly. "Permission granted, Admiral. Show them exactly what they're dealing with." Wilson nodded to his communications officer. "Send the signal to all ships and colonies. Theta Protocol is now active." Throughout human space, hidden defense systems awakened. On seemingly ordinary colony worlds, massive sections of landscape slid away to reveal weapons platforms. Mining stations transformed into battle stations. Civilian ships reconfigured into their true military forms. At Proxima Centauri, the colony's governor, Mark Davis, received the alert and immediately activated their planetary defense grid, technology that the Council had no idea existed. His hands moved swiftly across the control panel. "All non-essential personnel to shelters," he ordered. "Defense grid to full power. Activate the shield network." Outside, the first wave of Council ships approached the seemingly vulnerable colony. Their sensors showed minimal defenses, exactly what they expected from Earth's second-largest but still developing colony. The Council Fleet Commander, General Kraz of the militant Voltar species, smiled with satisfaction. The humans bluffed. "This colony is practically defenseless. Begin the attack sequence. Show them the price of defiance." The first volley of energy weapons fired from 50 Council warships simultaneously, enough firepower to level the entire main settlement. But the shots never reached their targets. A shimmering energy field materialized around the colony, absorbing the attack completely. Then, from orbital positions where Council sensors had detected nothing, 30 human ships decloaked. On their colony command center, Governor Davis watched calmly. "Return fire. Targeted disabling shots only. Remember the Admiral's orders. We demonstrate power, not vengeance." The human ships fired weapons unlike anything the Council had seen before. They didn't use typical energy beams or projectiles. Instead, small dimensional rifts opened directly inside the Council vessel's engine compartments and weapon systems, selectively removing key components without harming crew members. Aboard his command ship, General Kraz watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet lost power and weapons capability without a single casualty. "Impossible," he shouted. "How are they doing this? Where are these weapons in our intelligence reports?" His tactical officer stared at readings in disbelief. "General, they're using some form of targeted dimensional manipulation. They're not destroying our ships. They're surgically disabling them." In near-Earth space, Admiral Wilson monitored the situation. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. Throughout Council space, hidden human installations activated simultaneously. These weren't weapons, but rather specialized transmission systems, planted decades ago by humans posing as traders, tourists, and diplomatic staff. On thousands of worlds, the truth about the Council's plans for Earth appeared on communication networks. Not just the evidence Jack had discovered, but complete operational plans, names of those responsible, and the long history of the Council's exploitation of younger species. At the Council headquarters, chaos reigned as representatives demanded explanations from the High Councilors. "You planned the same for my world," accused the representative from Tellus, a relatively new council member. "These documents show we were next after Earth." Similar accusations flew across the chamber as centuries of secrets unraveled in minutes. Back at Proxima Colony, over 200 council ships now drifted powerless. Not a single human vessel had been lost. Not one human life had been taken. Governor Davis opened a communication channel to the disabled council fleet. "General Kraz, your attack has failed. Your ships are disabled, but your life support systems remain functional. We will provide emergency transport for your crews if needed." On the Defiance, Admiral Wilson received an urgent message from one of his captains. "Admiral, we're detecting another jump signature, much larger than the first wave." Wilson nodded grimly. "The main council fleet. They're committing everything." Near Jupiter, the space seemed to ripple as the primary council armada emerged. Over 500 capital ships, led by the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion. High Councilor Drex himself commanded this fleet, determined to crush the human rebellion once and for all. "The humans have some new technology," he addressed his fleet commanders. "But they cannot stand against our combined might. All ships, prepare for final approach to Earth." Before the order could be carried out, Admiral Wilson gave a simple command: "Activate the fold." Throughout the Sol system, hidden generators powered up. The technology had been Earth's most closely guarded secret, the ability to create a controlled dimensional pocket around an entire star system. Space itself seemed to bend around the Council fleet. The stars shifted position. Earth and its orbital defenses simply vanished from their sensors. "What's happening?" demanded Councilor Drex. "Where did they go?" His science officer worked frantically at her station. "Counselor, we haven't moved." "They have. They've somehow folded their entire system into a dimensional pocket. We're now effectively in a different reality from Earth." "That's impossible. No species has mastered system-wide dimensional manipulation." A communication channel opened on the Eternal Dominion's main display. Admiral Wilson's face appeared, calm and resolved. "High Councilor Drex, as you can see, your weapons cannot reach us. We exist slightly out of phase with your reality at this moment, but our weapons can still reach you." To demonstrate, a small human vessel no larger than a shuttle appeared near the Eternal Dominion. It fired a single pulse that passed through the dreadnought's shields as if they didn't exist, precisely disabling its main power core. The mighty flagship of the Council fleet went dark, emergency systems barely maintaining life support. "This is our final warning," Admiral Wilson continued. "We have shown restraint. We have taken no lives despite your unprovoked attack. But our patience has limits." Throughout Council space, more and more species were breaking ranks, declaring neutrality or even offering alliance with Earth after seeing the evidence of the High Council's plans. On a dozen worlds, revolutions began as populations learned how their leaders had conspired with the Council against their interests. The galactic order of thousands of years was collapsing in a single day. Admiral Wilson's voice carried across every Council communication channel. The choice remains the same. Leave humanity alone, or face consequences beyond your comprehension. You have 1 hour to recall all military forces from human space and acknowledge our independence. As the ultimatum was delivered, the small human ship near the Eternal Dominion disappeared back into its dimensional fold, leaving the Council fleet floating powerless in the void, a perfect symbol of how quickly the balance of power had shifted in the galaxy. 1 month after the confrontation at Jupiter, representatives from 27 galactic species gathered in the Great Hall of Unity on Earth. The massive dome structure had been built in just 3 weeks using human dimensional folding technology, a deliberate demonstration of capabilities that were now being openly shared with allies. Jack Miller stood at the entrance, watching as the delegates arrived. Each species had broken from the Galactic Council to join what was being called the Stellar Cooperative. Some had done so out of fear after witnessing human power, others from genuine belief in a better system, and many because the evidence of the Council's planned betrayals against their own worlds had left them no choice. "Quite a change from the Council chambers," said Tom, now appointed as Jack's deputy ambassador. Jack nodded. "The difference is that everyone here chose to come. No one was coerced." That wasn't entirely true. The human demonstration of power had certainly influenced decisions, but Earth had been careful to extend genuine friendship along with that show of strength. Inside the hall, Admiral Wilson was speaking with Lisa, whose species had been among the first to formally align with Earth. "The Thran delegation has finally arrived," Lisa informed him. "That makes all invited parties present." "And the Council?" Wilson asked. "Fractured beyond repair," Lisa replied. After the evidence was released, over half their member species either declared independence or demanded reform. The High Councilors have all resigned or been removed. The elder races have withdrawn to their core systems. Wilson nodded, satisfied but not triumphant. "We never wanted to destroy them, just to ensure our own survival." President Chen entered the hall, and all conversations quieted. She took her position at the central podium, surveying the gathered representatives. "Friends, allies, and fellow survivors of Council manipulation," she began. "1 month ago, humanity stood alone against a threat centuries in the making. Today, we stand together to build something better." The display behind her activated, showing a new map of the galaxy with territories clearly marked in different colors. The old Council believed in hierarchy and control. They classified species as mature or developing, using that classification to justify exploitation. Our cooperative recognizes the unique contributions of all members, regardless of technological development. Dr. Gray stepped forward, activating a holographic display showing technical schematics. "As a sign of our commitment to this principle, Earth is sharing key technologies with all cooperative members. Defensive systems first, to ensure each world's security, followed by medical, environmental, and transportation advances." Jack watched the delegates' reactions. There was still caution, still some fear of these humans who had humbled the mighty Council without firing a killing shot. But there was also hope, something many species hadn't felt in centuries under the Council's rule. At the back of the hall, a door opened quietly. Elder Counselor Nexus entered, his ancient form moving slowly down the center aisle. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to this unexpected visitor. President Chen showed no surprise. "Elder Nexus, you honor us with your presence." The ancient being inclined his head slightly. "I come not as a Council representative, but as an observer. What happens here will shape the galaxy for millennia to come." He moved to a viewing area, his deep eyes studying the proceedings with the perspective of one who had seen civilizations rise and fall dozens of times. The meeting continued for hours as the framework for the new cooperative took shape. Unlike the hierarchical council, this organization would operate on principles of transparency, mutual defense, and technological sharing. Most revolutionary was the requirement that all diplomatic agreements be shared with the species' general population. No more secret deals made by leaders without their people's knowledge. As the session ended for the day, Jack approached Elder Nexus, who stood staring at a large viewport overlooking Earth's night side, the lights of cities gleaming below. Elder Nexus, may I ask why you really came? Jack asked directly. The ancient being turned slowly. In my 17 galactic cycles of life, I have seen this pattern before. A young species rises, discovers betrayal, and responds with force. Usually, they then become the very thing they fought against. And you came to see if humans would follow that path. Yes, the Elder's eyes seemed to look through Jack rather than at him. Your species concerns many of the ancient races, not because of what you did, but because of how you did it. How we did it. You had the power to destroy the Council completely, to eliminate those who plotted against you. Yet you disabled rather than destroyed. You revealed truth rather than impose your will. This is unusual. Jack considered his words carefully. Our history is filled with examples of what happens when power is used for vengeance rather than justice. We didn't want to repeat those mistakes on a galactic scale. Elder Nexus made a sound that might have been a laugh. So young, yet you speak with the wisdom that many of my kind have forgotten. He gestured toward the bustling hall. This cooperative of yours, it will face challenges. Some members join out of fear, others from opportunism. We know, Jack acknowledged. Building trust takes time, but it has to start somewhere. In another part of the hall, Admiral Wilson and Dr. Gray stood together, watching Earth's rotation from a different viewport. Do you think we did the right thing? Dr. Gray asked quietly. Revealing all our technologies at once could have consequences we haven't foreseen. Wilson's expression remained thoughtful. We kept secrets because we feared betrayal. Now we need to build something based on openness. He paused. Besides, we haven't revealed everything. Dr. Gray raised an eyebrow. You mean Project Sentinel? Some insurance policies are worth maintaining, Wilson replied. At least until this new arrangement proves itself. The next morning, the formal signing of the Stellar Cooperative Charter began. Each species representative approached the central table to add their signature or equivalent mark to the document. When all had signed, President Chen addressed the assembly once more. Today marks not an ending but a beginning. The principles we establish here will be tested. There will be disagreements, challenges, even threats from those who prefer the old ways. But standing together, we can face whatever comes. As if on cue, an aide hurried to Admiral Wilson, whispering urgently in his ear. Wilson's expression darkened as he moved to join President Chen. Madam President, we've detected multiple ships approaching from the direction of former Council space. They're not responding to communications. The room tensed as the information spread quickly among the delegates. Was this to be the first test of the new alliance? President Chen remained calm. What species? Unknown, Wilson replied. The configuration doesn't match any in our database. Elder Nexus stepped forward, his ancient eyes suddenly alert. They have come sooner than expected. You know who they are? Jack asked. They exist beyond the Council's chartered space. We encountered them once, millennia ago, and established a non-interference pact. The Elder's voice carried a rare note of concern. They monitor the galaxy for shifts in power. Your confrontation with the Council would have drawn their attention. President Chen addressed the now anxious delegates. It seems our cooperative faces its first challenge sooner than expected. But unlike the old Council, we will face it together with honesty and unity. Jack looked around the room at the diverse species who had, just a month ago, been part of a system planning humanity's downfall. Now they stood as allies, brought together by human determination and restraint. This is the true test, Tom said quietly beside him. Not whether we could defeat the Council, but whether we can build something better in its place. As the delegates moved to emergency sessions to address the approaching unknown ships, Jack found himself standing next to Elder Nexus once more. "You were right to warn your people as you did," the ancient being said unexpectedly. "And they were right to prepare rather than trust blindly." He turned his ancient eyes to Jack. "Perhaps humans truly are different. The coming days will tell." Jack nodded, watching as human and alien representatives worked together with newfound purpose. Whatever comes next, we face it as equals. The galaxy had changed forever, not through destruction, but through humanity's final warning and the new beginning it had created.